welcome back to the channel. To start things off, I just want to say thank you all for subscribing and following and giving me the amazing constructive criticism that you guys have had so far. Now, to start things off, let's talk about these guys. So this is just a ball top. It's not exactly a branded ball top. I went on AliExpress and ordered a set of buttons. So I got 8 Sanwa style buttons and a ball top. Let's see how this goes. This was the first time of me ordering from AliExpress. I didn't really know quite what to expect. Upon further inspection, all the stuff on there was actually really neat to see and at very fair prices. What's something that you want to take in consideration, it is pretty much like a Chinese Amazon. Now, knowing that, it may take a while to get to. Took me about a month to get my things. Now, knowing that these were copies of Sanwa buttons, the cost was great. It was only about $20 after shipping. As opposed to ordering stateside of an official Sanwa product would normally cost me around $45. So, something to keep in mind. It arrived great. Everything was packaged beautifully, nothing was damaged. But upon further inspection, you begin to know that these are absolutely copies of Sanwa buttons. And the reason why is because of the imperfections you see in the paint. Not necessarily a deal breaker, because if you're just looking at the buttons from far away, you can't really see it. But I'm kind of an anal guy, so I can see minor details here and there. Installation was a snap, quite literally, because they're snap-in buttons. No problems, no tabs broken. Now that we have all these buttons installed, let's look and listen to see how these guys turned out. Okay, played a couple matches so far. My initial impressions of the buttons are as follows. As I press the buttons, they feel like a Shimizu button, maybe with a cross with a crown button. The biggest dilemma that I'm running across right now, especially because these are knockoff buttons, they're not uniform all the way around. And because of that, I'm getting a lot of inconsistencies with my button presses. Not necessarily with the switches, but the actual body of the buttons. The plunger itself is rubbing across majority of the buttons, making a very, very annoying squeaking sound. And it also creates resistance. So as you are pressing down on the buttons, they almost grab on the corners, making it very distracting during play. Not something I've ever really run across when it comes to Sanwa, Shimizu, or even crown buttons for that matter. So with that being the case, we're already going way down in score. There might be ways to modify them. I'm going to check that out later on. But as of right now, I want to get these out of my case right away because these are distracting as all hell. However, I'm going to play a little bit more. My light punch button, or I guess you would call it your number 1 if we're going Mortal Kombat, is very sticky. As you push down on the quarter, it actually grabs really bad. So you have to push down on the button, make sure I'm pushing down more so on the center, because if I'm pushing ever so slightly on the side, that button is grabbing hardcore and actually sometimes even sticking on the way up. So making it not only very distracting, but also when it comes to quicker inputs, making it damn near impossible. But we're going to continue. I will give my review on the buttons in a little bit, but as of right now, from a performance standpoint, not very good. Wouldn't recommend them. But here we go. All right, now it's time to switch out the switch in these knockoff buttons. So if you look on the side of the button, there's like this little square hole. Take a object like a screwdriver or a chopstick or something that you can get in there, and you're going to gently push in and up to slide that little tab in, and do the same thing on the other side. From here, you're going to grab the cap of the button and just pull it apart. Now, when you look at the switch, there are little tabs on the sides of the actual switch that are below the button housing.
You're going to squeeze both those tabs in at the same time. Because these are Chinese knockoff buttons, the switches are a little bit tighter, so you can see I was having a hard time. And this is what the switch looks like. And whoa. The hell is that? Where's the switch? Well, at least where did that part go? Did they decide to cut part of it off and put it back into the switch? That doesn't make any sense. Why? Okay, sorry for the little mini rant. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take an actual official Sanwa button. If you have some extra on the side, what you're going to do is the exact same steps. What I'm doing here is I had a bunch of different extra Sanwa buttons off to the side. You're going to take your little object, put them in those little square corners here, and push the cap off of the housing of the button. Squeeze the little tabs on the base of the switch and it should pop right on out. And it's actually very easy to tell which switch is which, because the Sanwa switch is circular at the base, where the Chinese switch, it literally looks like somebody took a hot knife and cut it in like a third of it off. It's very, very strange. So take the Sanwa switch, snap it right back into the housing of the button. It fits actually perfect, and then replace the cap. So earlier in the video, I had mentioned that the housing had imperfections that caused it to squeak. I was actually wrong. The housing is fine. It has everything to do with the micro switch itself. The micro switch is what was causing the complications with the button, because after switching out the Sanwa switch, it actually feels and works great. If I didn't even know any better, it feels like a Sanwa button. Here, I'm going to be showing you just how compatible the switch is, and I'm putting in a silencer pad that would normally fit in a Sanwa button, and they fit into the housing or the copy Sanwa button just fine. Slip it around the switch of the Sanwa, and then from there you're going to replace the cap. Works just great. Sound test! Okay, so here are the buttons. The top buttons, which would be light punch and medium punch on most arcade sticks, or let's go 1 and 2, have the silencer pads in them. Buttons 3 and 4, or your light kick and medium kick on most arcade sticks, do not. So, let's go.
So these are my final thoughts on the buttons. As stock buttons, absolutely not. Horrible buttons, I give it about a 2 out of 10. But never want to subject anybody to the inconsistencies of the button press, the button grabbing onto the housing. They're horribly squeaky, and it just does not make for any type of natural movements whatsoever. Now, if you happen to have extra Sanwa switches laying on the side, or if you have extra buttons that you just want to have a good cosmetic change, I think they're absolutely viable. They feel exactly like a Sanwa button. Now, if you like Sanwa buttons, this is going to be right up your alley. This is going to be fantastic. If you hate it, it's not going to change a damn thing. You're still going to hate Sanwa buttons. But all in all, when it comes to buying the housing and switching out the switch, I'd have to say it's good, 8 out of 10. It may not necessarily be the most practical thing in the world, but it might save you a little bit of money if you're just looking for a good cosmetic change on your case. Thank you again for watching the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and I hope you learned something new. I know I did in the process of doing this entire video. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, slap me a Fonz if you guys like it. Hope you guys stay safe. Love ya.